I can't believe it's taken me this long to read The Mamba Mentality by Kobe Bryant, but it is one of the best, not just sports books, but books, period, that I have ever read in my life. So the point of this video is I wanted to share the 7 things, the 7 Kobe Bryant quotes, mentalities, stories that I found to be the most impactful. Now, one of the first parts of the book, it's actually the intro, is Kobe Bryant talking about his love affair for basketball. So just listen to this. I remember when, as a kid, I got my first real basketball. I loved the feel of it in my hands. I was so enamored with the ball that I didn't actually want to bounce it or use it because I didn't want to ruin the pebbled leather grains or the perfect grooves. I didn't want to ruin the feel. I love the sound of it too. The tap, tap, tap of when a ball bounces on the hardwood, the crispness and clarity, the predictability, the sound of life and light. Those are some of the elements that I loved about the ball, about the game. They were at the core and root of my process and craft. They were the reasons I went through all that I went through, put in all that I put in, dug as deep as I dug. It all came back to that special tap, tap, tap that I first grew infatuated with as a boy. The reason I love this, I recently listened to Novak Djokovic talk about why he loves playing tennis. And some reporter asked him, how much longer are you going to play tennis for? And he said, until I stop liking the feeling of hitting that tennis ball. Like, it really just boils down to the fact that I love hitting tennis balls. Like, it's one of my passions. And the day that I realized that, you know what, this whole hitting this tennis ball thing isn't really for me anymore, that's when I'll, that's when I'll quit. And that's when I'll say enough is enough. And so that reminds me of this Kobe Bryant quote and why he fell in love with basketball. He was just like, I loved basketballs and I love the feeling of bouncing a basketball. And sometimes it just boils down to something as simple as that. Now, my second favorite lesson from the book is Kobe Bryant talking about fear. So listen to this. When it came to basketball, I had no fear. During my rookie year at first, some scouting reports said I wasn't tough. The first time I went to the basket in games, I'd get hit and the defense would think they had me. I'd come back the very next play and pick up an offensive foul just to send them a message. I didn't need that extra push to be great though. From day one, I wanted to dominate. My mindset was, I'm going to figure you out, whether it was AI, Tracy, Vince, or if I were coming up today, LeBron, Russ, Steph. My goal was to figure you out, and to do that, to figure those puzzles out, I was willing to do way more than anyone else. That was the fun part for me. Not much to add to this quote, honestly. I mean, it just insight into Kobe Bryant's insane mentality and how badly he wanted to dominate and how badly he wanted to figure all these players out and understand the way that they attack the game and how to counteract that. In the book, he talks about guarding AI, Tracy, Vince, all those guys, even Russ, LeBron. And when you read the book and read how Kobe Bryant thought about each one of those matchups, you could tell how detail oriented he was. If I put my elbow in this position, how is LeBron going to counteract that? If AI, like, he would study AI's moves and his tendencies and say, all right, first half of the first quarter, AI tends to do this, so this is how I'm going to guard him. Like, the amount of detail and the amount of preparation that Kobe Bryant put into his game, I mean, it was clear as day that he wanted to dominate. Third lesson, Kobe Bryant said, I asked a ton of questions. I was curious. I wanted to improve, learn, and fill my head with the history of the game. No matter who I was, with a coach, Hall of Famer, teammate, and no matter the situation, game, practice, vacation, I would fire away with question after question. A lot of people appreciated my curiosity and passion. They appreciated I wasn't just asking to ask. I was genuinely thirsty to hear their answers and glean new info. Some people, meanwhile, were less understanding and gracious. That was fine with me. My approach always was that I'd rather risk embarrassment now than be embarrassed later when I've won 0 titles. Let me repeat that last sentence again. My approach always was that I'd rather risk embarrassment now than be embarrassed later when I've won 0 titles. This is a common thread amongst all of the great athletes in the history of sports. Doesn't matter what sport, doesn't matter what era. They were genuinely curious and they wanted to learn from others either before them or their competition. And they just asked a ton of questions. And it takes a certain amount of humility to be able to do that, to acknowledge that you may be lacking in one area and to ask others who may do something better than you do for information or for advice on how to become better in that area. So It's one of the things I love most about Kobe Bryant was his genuine curiosity and his willingness to always be learning. Now, you know how before in the video, I mentioned how detail-oriented Kobe Bryant was and how his preparation was insane. Well, listen to this story. Kobe Bryant said, "Reading is fundamental. I made a point of reading the referee's handbook. One of the rules I gleaned from it was that each referee has a designated slot where he is supposed to be on the floor. If the ball, for instance, is in place W, referees X, Y, and Z each have an area in the court assigned to them. When they do that, it creates dead zones, areas on the floor where they can't see certain things. I learned where those zones were, and I took advantage of them. I would get away with holds, travels, and all sorts of minor violations simply because I took the time to understand the officials' limitations." I really don't have much to say here. Again, the amount of detail and preparation and exhaustive research that Kobe Bryant did, it may never be matched again. The fact that he read the referee's handbook to figure out where these quote-unquote dead zones were for referees and where they maybe couldn't see everything so that he could, get away with a pull or a tug here, anything that would give him an advantage. Enough said. All right, this is lesson number 5. Kobe Bryant said, "When I was young, my mindset was image, image, image. I took that approach with the media. As I became more experienced, I realized no matter what, people are going to like you or not like you. So be authentic and let them like you or not for who you actually are." At that point, I started keeping all of my answers blunt and straightforward. I would mix in some humor and sarcasm too. I think fans and reporters came to appreciate the real me. As someone who does content and is an aspiring content creator, it's one of the main lessons that I've certainly learned through experience, and it's why I included this quote in this video. People are going to judge you. People are going to talk about you. People are going to like you or not like you, regardless of what you do. If you sit around all day and you watch TV and you don't go out because you're scared of what people are going to think of you, guess what? Your friends are judging you. Even in that instance, they're talking about you. They're like, "Wow, look at that guy or girl. He just, they sit in their room all day, watch TV. They never go out." If you go out and you try new things and you are trying to make a name for yourself on the internet or trying to grow a YouTube channel or build a business, guess what? Friends and others and strangers are also going to talk about you. Like, "Oh, look at that guy or girl. Like, they're trying to build this business or grow this YouTube channel." The point is, people are always talking about you and people are always forming opinions on you and always judging you. And people are already making up in their mind whether or not they like you. So I would much rather go out and do the things that I want to do and build the business that I want to build or build the YouTube channel that I want to build. And just knowing that people are going to judge you no matter what. So you might as well be doing the thing that you enjoy or doing or trying to reach some goal that is meaningful to you. Because in that instance, at least you're doing something that is filled with purpose and not just sitting around waiting for something to happen or waiting for things to fall into your lap. Because guess what? Like I said, people are judging you in either case. So I love the fact that Kobe was just like, "Listen, people are already going to like me or not like me. So I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to be authentic with the media. Whoever likes it, likes it. Whoever doesn't, doesn't. And that's just what it is." This is lesson number 6. Kobe said, "A big shot is just another shot. People make a huge deal out of clutch shots. Thing is, it's just one shot. If you make 1,000 shots a day, it's just one of 1,000. Once you're hitting that many, what's one more?" That was my mentality from day one. Again, just goes to show Kobe's mentality and how he viewed these clutch situations. People always say, for better or for worse, Kobe always took the big shot. He always wanted the ball in his hands. And he missed a lot of them. He really did. But in turn, he also made a bunch of huge shots and won a bunch of games for Lakers. Obviously, I'm not breaking any news there. But this was really interesting insight into how Kobe viewed those clutch moments. He was like, "Listen, this is just another shot. Like, I've done this 1,000 times. I put up 1,000 shots in practice. This is just one of 1,000. The only difference is basically the time that's left on the clock." So I really love that mentality from Kobe and how he viewed these clutch moments. He viewed them as just another moment. So last but certainly not least, lesson number 7. Kobe Bryant said, "God gave us 2 hands. As a kid, I'm talking 6 years old, it bothered me when something felt like a weakness. So I worked really hard on my left hand at that age. Specifically, I would brush my teeth with my left hand. I would write my name with my left hand. I hated the feeling of being uncomfortable. That's how I looked at it on the court, too. That's why I felt it was so important to be able to use both of them equally. Whether dribbling or shooting, pivoting or spinning, it was important to me that I felt comfortable with either hand. Again, just shows how driven Kobe was. And not just driven from a standpoint of like, oh, I need to work on my left hand. He was like, no, I genuinely feel uncomfortable with the state of my left hand. Kobe Bryant saw his left hand as a weakness and he worked at it and worked at it until it wasn't a weakness anymore. You know, Kobe talks about being 6 years old and weaknesses bothering him. You know, that's usually not the mindset that most 6-year-olds have. But Kobe, goes without saying that Kobe was different. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And it's why I enjoyed this book so much, Kobe Bryant, The Mamba Mentality, because it gave me a little more insight into his mindset, into the way that he operated and the way that he approached not only the game of basketball, but life. And I mean, this goes without saying as well. I still can't believe that, he was taken away from us. I still remember 2020, where I was when I heard the news that Kobe Bryant had died. It almost seemed surreal. Like it didn't seem like it was real. And so whenever I see any piece of Kobe Bryant content, whether it's a book, a video, whatever it may be, I read it, I watch it because there's so much that we can all learn from this man. And again, it's why I loved this book so much, Kobe Bryant, The Mamba Mentality. If you enjoy this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.